How's it going, everybody? This is Justin Wu here at Seattle Devcon, one of the biggest conferences here in the Northwest, and I'm here with the legendary Jeff Garzik. How's it going, Jeff?
How's it going?
Good, good. So you just gave a little keynote talk at Seattle Devcon here, and you were talking about multi-chain, multi-network, and multi-dApp. I guess that's kind of like a new concept. I think especially for like the purists out there, everybody's just always thinking single chain or
That's
like
right.
ETH only or whatever, EOS, Tron, etc. I guess, can you highlight a little bit more about that concept for others that are out there?
Sure. There was so much great innovation, great development out there. A lot of dev teams, you want to pull innovation from all of those. You don't want to pull from just one chain. And we're seeing people also on the developer side, when you want to build an app, you don't want to just bet the farm on one chain. And if you're building an app and you want to reach multiple communities, multiple tokens, BloqCloud, the product that we're building, that's really going to reach that multi-chain, multi-network community.
Awesome. So I guess on stage you mentioned this brand new product that you guys have from Bloq called BloqCloud. Is it for the enterprise that just is looking to get into blockchain and don't know where to start? Or I guess, like, who is it for? And can you talk a little bit more about the product? It's coming out in the summer too, right?
It is.
Okay,
late
awesome.
Summer.
Yeah, so I guess can you talk a little bit more about BloqCloud, who's it for, and kind of more details about that?
Sure, it's really for two audiences. The first audience is the developer that has a clue. They already know what they're doing, and they know how to use REST APIs and JSON, and they're ready to code. And so that's the first audience, is you just sign up. It's as easy as AWS. You get an account, and you're immediately on a whole bunch of blockchain networks. So that's the first audience. And they know what they want. They're crypto aware. They're ready to go. The second audience is, like you allude to, that enterprise audience, is they need a lot of uplift to understand and to help risk adjust versus, well, there's a hard fork here, there's a 0 day there. They don't have that depth of knowledge even to react to those kind of network events. And so we have that knowledge, we have that understanding, and the managed products that help the enterprises just not worry about it. And so those two audiences, the devs with a clue and the enterprises that need some help.
Awesome. And so the concept with multi-chain and multi-dApp, multi-network is that you're going to be helping them be able to traverse through all these other chains or other networks, and you guys are just like managing and helping them do that, and so they can focus more on actually just building, right?
That's exactly.
And that's great for both adoption and actually just lowering the barrier, but also accelerating these companies, enterprises and startups with getting into the blockchain.
Yeah, we've identified that there are just so many pain points involved with developing a simple, it works, I can look at my balance blockchain app. The simplest app you can imagine. You have to get involved with nodes, apps, cryptographic libraries, and you have to really know what you're doing with all of those. And that's complex stuff. That's like avionics software, medical software. It's really complex. And people need help with that. And there are a lot of pain points associated with that, that if you don't learn how to, say, use a wallet the right way, you might make a mistake and lose funds that are unrecoverable. So there are, again, I use the avionics medical communities as an example because you can't screw up in those communities. And in blockchain, you have to have that same level of quality, that same level of excellence.
Awesome. And kind of leading to the next thing that kind of just blew my mind was another Bloq project, which is Metronome, the Metronome cryptocurrency. For those out there, I was trying to wrap my head around it. You're essentially allowing us to take an asset and jump from one chain to another. I guess, can you talk more about Metronome?
Right. Sure. Metronome was our idea of clean slate money. We've been in the blockchain space, our team, for almost 10 years, as long as blockchain's been around. And we said, if we wanted to risk adjust away from what are the known issues with current blockchains, what are the known issues with tokens, whether it's technical, economic, or even drama and politics and stuff like that, how can you avoid all of the issues that we've seen so far? And Metronome was our answer. And one of the key parts of Metronome, one of the things that we just announced, was the first chain hop, which finally completes the Metronome picture. And the Metronome picture, it's money, it's resilient money that's going to last, we say, for 100+ years. And why do we say that? Is that it's the first token we're aware of that can survive the death of a blockchain. A Bitcoin, it's tied to the Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum is tied to the Ethereum blockchain, so much so that people are like, yeah, duh, isn't that obvious? But at the same time, if there's a problem with the Bitcoin blockchain, there's a problem with the Bitcoin token, you can't transfer your money. But with Metronome, if there's a problem with the blockchain, you can just move it to where there's not a problem, and then you're golden. And that was one of the biggest risks that we looked at and identified and eliminated.
Awesome. That kind of goes with, I guess, now the blockchain trend for a lot of people out there is saying DeFi, decentralized finance, and that sounds actually more in that wheelhouse. And you guys have been working on it for a couple of years now, right? I'd say. And I guess this is kind of like the true definition of DeFi in a sense that you guys are allowing people to actually own their assets, and if a chain or Bitcoin or whatever other platforms die, they can just like move and kind of uproot themselves and take their assets elsewhere.
That's
seems
exactly
right?
It was DeFi before DeFi was a word.
Before it's trending. Next thing was DeFi, got stable coins, we got who knows what else things. But what you're seeing here though is like just focusing on just building things of value, and whatever happens in the crypto side and the speculation.
Exactly right. Yeah, and Metronome we think is really playing into this whole crypto spring. There are a lot of, as we just mentioned, the DeFi protocols, and DeFi is one of the trends this year. People are starting to investigate putting Metronome as a backing asset for some of these DeFi loans, Compound Protocol, Dharma, etc., multi-collateral DAI. And those are really starting to show Metronome's promise as a money. It's not a utility token. It's not a security token. It's money. And how can we make resilient money was the question that we kept asking ourselves, sound resilient money, and we think we have an answer. Awesome.
I guess to wrap things up here, is this your first time actually visiting Seattle? Or
no, I get out here quite a bit for space stuff of all things. One of the companies that Bloq's involved in is SpaceChain. And we've launched 2 satellites into low Earth orbit in the past year. So a lot of aerospace out in Seattle. And I love to talk space whenever I'm out here, as well as blockchain.
So is SpaceChain going to bring the first crypto to space and then hopefully Mars too?
We are. In fact, we might be the first ones to do a Bitcoin transaction on the International Space Station.
Awesome. You heard it here first.